Hello my loves, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial we're making this beautiful dress which is made up of a combination of Ankara and a plain fabric. This dress is fire. Now to make this dress you need your African print and a different fabric. Now for my pattern I'm going to start with making a starting point for my dress, and after that point I'm going to mark out my chest line, my half length and the length of my dress. Afterwards, I'll be adding 2 inches hemming allowance to it. Then I'll go and connect all of these points into a straight line. From the half length, I'm going to step down by 9 inches, and that's the distance from my waist to my hip. I'll make a mark at that point, then I'll also connect the blouse length and the seam allowance, basically making a basic dress. Okay, so I know there are beginners in our midst, so that is why I'm taking time to do this so that you can, so that you can move along with us. Okay, so if you are a pro, you just want to get to see the style line, please just hold on for the beginners in our midst so that they can enjoy what we are enjoying as well. All right, so on the shoulder line I'm going to mark half of my shoulder plus half inch ease allowance. The same thing on the chest line, then I'll connect into a straight line. Okay, so for my neck width I'm making it 4 inches and 4 inches for my depth, but you can make yours 3 by 3 because the neckline for this is not so wide, but I want mine to be wide. I really like wide necklines. Okay, now for the back neckline I made it 4 by 1.5. The width is 4 inches and the depth is 1.5. So I'm connecting this for the front neckline, then this for the back neckline. I'm using this one pattern to make the front and the back. We don't waste pattern paper here, everything we just economize at this point. All right, so from the shoulder line I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, then add half inch for the shoulder joining or the shoulder seam allowance. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is to start imputing my measurements. So on the chest line I'll mark the bust divided by 4. I'll add between half inch to quarter of an inch for ease, then I'll add my seam allowance of 1.5 inches. Now on the waistline I'll do exactly the same thing. I'll mark my waist divided by 4 plus between half inch to quarter of an inch ease allowance, depending on how free you want the dress to be. Then you add 1.5 inches side seam allowance. You can work with 1 inch allowance or 1.5 or 2 depending on what you like to do. Now on the hip I'm going to mark the hip divided by 4 plus between half to quarter of an inch is allowance and 1.5 inches seam allowance. So what I'll do next is to connect the points. So I'll connect from the bust to the waist, then to the hip. Now from the hip I'll connect in a straight line to the length of the dress. Now if you want this dress to be not so fitted, this is okay. Now, but I want mine to flare out a little bit just like that of the model, so I'm going to add 3 inches to the hemline and I'll connect that to my waist measurement. Okay, so I don't think this is nice if you connect to the hip, but I'll just extend it to the waist measurement. So you can see this one is off because I don't want mine to be so fitted. I want it to be as free as that of the model. Okay, I want that to be a little bit of flare at the lower part. So what I've done is that 3 inches I'm extending it to my waistline. Okay, so I'm trying to make the curve really nice. So you can see if you want yours to be straight, you follow the inside line, but if you don't want it to be straight, just slant it out like so, then connect to the waistline. So that is what I have done. Okay, so a slant line from the waist to the 3 inches extension that we have made. Now I don't want the bottom of this dress to be straight, so I'm going to slant it like so, just to have a little bit of curve at the hem of my dress, and we have it. So the next thing I'll do would be to do my armhole. So I'll measure the length for the armhole, step inward by half inch, then cover out my armhole like so. Okay guys, I have a detailed tutorial on how to make a basic bodice and a basic dress. So if you're new or you're a beginner and you want to learn that, okay, please check out those videos. And there are also good channels here on YouTube that have very good tutorials on how to make basic dresses and blouses, so you can go and check them out as well. Okay, so I just did this so that you don't get confused about what we're doing, but if you want more knowledge or in-depth knowledge about making this basic dress, please check out my channel on the tutorials I have. Now, for us to make the style line, this is where a lot of us are waiting for. Okay, we already know how to make basic dresses. We just want to know what to do for the style line. So I'll start by stepping down from my neck, my front neck depth by 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches is fine. Okay, so you can do between 1.5 to 2 inches, but 2 inches is fine. So we're stepping down from the neck width, the front neck width by 2 inches. Now from my chest line, I also step down by 2 inches. Okay, then I'll make a slant line to connect the 2 points. So 2 inches below your neck width and 2 inches below your chest line. Okay, and that is it. So that's the first style line. You can see. So now for the other style line, we're going to measure the distance from the waist to the hip. Mine is 9 inches, so the distance from my waist to hip is 9 inches. So I'm going to make a mark at the middle of that. So that is 4.5. You can see my waist to hip is 9 inches. Okay, so half of it is 4.5. So I'll make a mark at 4.5. Okay, so you can connect directly from there to the hip, but I want mine to come down a little bit. So from the hip, I'll step down by 2 inches as well. But you can make yours directly from the to the hip. Okay, so I'll just slant from half of my waist to hip measurement to 2 inches below the hip line. Okay, and guys, this is it. So this is the style line. Now I'm going to cut it out. So this part is the Ankara part, while this is the plain, and the upper part is also the plain. All right, so by the time we cut this out, we're going to allocate it to the different fabrics you're going to be using for it. So the part that is labeled Ankara, we're going to use Ankara fabric for it, and the part that is labeled plain, you're going to use plain fabric for it. And after joining, you're going to get that beautiful design that you see the model wearing. So guys, if you're still watching till this point, please consider subscribing, like my video, share with your friends, and please turn on your post notification so that each time there's a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. Hey. So I'm going to note that I'm adding half inch to these places because you need allowance to join them. So half inch at this point. Okay, so all the places that I wrote half inch on, note that when you're cutting, after cutting and you're transferring to your fabric, you're going to add half inch to those places because that would be your joining allowance to, join the style line together. All right, so I've cut out one plain part, then I'm going to cut out this other part like so, and that is it. My beautiful people, at this point, you can now go and start getting your Ankara and your plain fabric ready for the masterpiece, because at this point, guys, I was really excited because I so wanted to wear this dress. I so wanted to wear this dress. Now for my Ankara, I've placed it on fold and I'm cutting that off the back. Okay, so I've placed the Ankara pattern on the Ankara fabric. So towards the upper side, I'm adding half inch for joining. Like I said, you need to add half inch allowance to it. Okay, if not, you're going to have your pattern short or your fabric or your measurement short. So I'm adding half inch to this part like so.
Your skinhead.
Trauma, stop now. All right, so for the lower part, I'm adding half inch as well. Please excuse us, okay?
So you're bending down.
So I'm adding half inch. I'll tell you. So to the length of this place. What is length of this place? This girl is distracting me. I'm adding half inch to the lower part, like so. Okay, so we've added our half inch to the upper part and the lower part. Mind you, this is for the back. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut. For the front, I'll add my half inch up and down. Okay, but I'll add 1 inch for my zipper allowance because it's going to have zipper in front. Okay, so I'm done with this side. I'll go ahead and cut for the other side like so. So I'm taking my time to show you this because for the other ones I might not really show what I have done. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. I've added half inch to the upper part and the lower part because you can see that I wrote on the pattern paper that you need to add half inch at those two places. Right, so I'll take it out, and this is it for the back. That's it. Right, so for the front, I'm going to still fold as well. Remember, fold and add your 1 inch for your zip allowance. Now when you're done doing this, you need to go and notch the upper part because by the time you take it out, you will know which one is which one. So place the pattern on it and notch the upper part, the one that goes towards the neckline. You need to notch it so that when you're joining, you have direction, okay, and you don't misplace the patterns. Right, so for the front, I've placed it as well. I've added my 1 inch zip allowance. I've added half inch to the upper part and the lower part, and I'll just go ahead and cut at this point. So you can see half inch here, half inch here. Okay, then 1 inch zip allowance. So I'll go ahead and cut out. Okay, so if you want lining for this project, at this point, after cutting, you can also go ahead and cut out your lining. But I'm working with High Target, a high quality Ankara fabric, so I do not want to line. And the plain fabric I'm using as well is quality, so I do not need to line. So go ahead and slash open your zip allowance. Make sure to notch the zip allowance and also notch the direction, the upper part, so that you know that that part is going to be joined to the neck area. Right, now for the plain part at the lower side, okay, this is for the front. I've added half inch at the upper part. Sorry guys, at the upper part I've added half inch, you can see. Then I've also added my 1 inch zip allowance. Now the lower part does not need any allowance because it already has your 2 inches hemming or folding allowance. Okay, so this is it for the front. Okay, so this is it for the front. What I'm going to do is to notch the upper parts, okay, to know that you're going to join it. So at this point, so many things are going on, so I need to find myself so that my brain can cool and I can focus on what I'm doing. So find yourself at the same time. This life, not jeje, we cannot come and kill ourselves because of making clothes. All right, so for the back plain fabric, I've placed the fabric on fold as well. The fabric is on fold, guys. At this point, the fabrics are on fold. I've added half inch to the upper part, okay. The lower part does not need any seam allowance because it has the hemming allowance. So also go and notch so that you know that you're joining it to the Ankara part, okay? And that is it. Now for the upper part, that's the one that may serve as a yoke. I've added half inch to the lower part. That's the only thing I need to add at this area. So only half inch. And this is the back, so it's on fold. You can see. So for the front, I'm going to trim off the front neckline. Right, then I'm going to place my front, the fabric on fold, then add 1 inch for zip allowance. So that's what I need to do for that area. I don't need to show it, you already know. Now for my joining, this is the back, I'm going to place it like so. This is the back, you can see. So I'm going to place it open, then align the plain fabric as well. You can see, align the plain fabric like so. Then I'm going to overlap it in such a way that the middle parts, okay, align properly. You can see. So pin it like this. Just match up the middle sides, then go ahead and pin it down. You can see I'm taking this part very gently. Then you go and match up the sides. Also pin it down, then stitch with half inch all around, okay. So go ahead and stitch with half inch all around. All right, so when I'm done, I'll come and show you. So this is what it looks like. I've ironed it a little bit, okay. The fabric I'm using expands when heat is applied on it, okay. So when I ironed my white fabric, it expanded, so you can see I have some excesses by the side. But if you're working with a fabric that doesn't expand, okay, you don't have issues. Now for me, I still do not have issues. I'll just go ahead and trim off the excesses. Now this is what the inside looks like. I'll go ahead and overlock the edges so that it's not pulling, or what's it called, I can't remember what it's being called right now. So if you remember, please in the comment section indicate, okay, or tell us, so that it doesn't loosen. You know what it means, that it doesn't frill. Yes, it doesn't frill. Right, so I'm going to join the upper parts now. So I'm going to align it as well. So I'm going to match the midpoints like so, just the way I did for the lower part. Match up the midpoints, flip it like so, so that they would align. Then I'll go and match it up and pin it down with my pin. Then align the sides as well. At this point, you need to make sure that it aligns. Then you go and stitch it like this with half inch seam allowance. When you're done, you go and overlock and give it a very good press. Repeat the same procedure for the front. So this is what I have. I have the front here. This is one side of the front. The front is slanted open because there is zip allowance in front. So this is the other side of the front. And guys, like the fabric combination for me is lit. It is fire. I will just be like Tolu. My shakara will just be on top. My shakara will just be everywhere. Hey. All right, so this is what we have, and I am enjoying it. I'm loving it so far. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim off any excess I have on the plain fabric like this now, so you can see. So any excess you have, just go ahead and trim. You can see this part. I'll go ahead and trim it out. All right, so don't be ashamed to, for people to see your rough work. Okay, that's what brings out the beauty of your dress. By the time you are able to fix any issues that you have, right? So, like I said, my fabric expands when you apply heat on it. So that's why I have this excess. Now I'm going to get the back at this point and still show you what I have done. So you can see I've joined and I gave it a very good press. Guys, at this point, you need to steam press. Like, give it a very good press so that everything lays really nice, because we're not top stitching on it. So you need to give it a good press. So you can see my inside, I overlocked it very well. Now what I'll do is to place it right side facing right side. Let the front face the back. Okay, join the shoulder seam and join the side seam. Okay, when I'm done with joining the shoulder seam and the side seam, I'll go and use bias. Okay, I'll use the Ankara fabric as bias to turn the neckline. Then I'll fix my sleeve and my zipper. And guys, this is what we have. You can see, so mine came out very beautiful. I wanted a short sleeve. I didn't want something too much. So this is it. My camera is obviously not doing justice to this beautiful piece, and I couldn't help but love it. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.